Hi, my name is Janice Yates. I teach at East Grand Rapids High School in Michigan. I'm one of the mentors here. I'm interested to know a little bit more about the feedback that you give to the students, because sometimes we'll get very positive feedback, and when we get our scores, the scores aren't as positive as feedback. And sometimes we get very negative feedback, but the scores come back much higher than we expect. So I'm interested to know if there are times when you give more critical feedback, even when you think the panel has done well, or if they haven't done as well, maybe you still try to be positive.
This is an interesting question, particularly coming after the question right before it. And I almost responded that the question Philip raised is, I think, this is a competition, and the nature of the competition is that schools have different baselines, and there's a limit to the extent to which we can take that into account in scoring. But I think in terms of feedback, there is, my view is that with this age group, this may be the national finals, but there is never, ever an excuse to leave students with, feeling sort of down after an argument ends. And look, we all internalize things, even at our age and at that age. You can sort of, ask them what the weather's like out there, and it will upset them. And I try to be sensitive about that, and really try to make my feedback positive, to accentuate the positives. If to the extent that that if I were really saying what I really thought, sometimes I would say, that was really one of the worst presentations you've heard today, and I'm going to give you terrible scores. I just don't feel like that's my role. And I'm sorry if, they say, well, guys, she said really nice things, and how impressed he was, and how hard he'd worked, and then, gave us bad grades, bad scores. Well, tough. That's just the way it is, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, this is where I've made students cry over the years, but this is where I've also improved myself. I've worked on this. But I'll tell you, one time I was judging the Monday, and I had one of my fellow judges. He made these kids sound like they must have been, all future Nobel Prize winners. That these were, as brilliant students that he'd ever seen, and I knew that they were probably the worst of the 10. And he wound up scoring them the worst of the 10. And yet it was, I thought, extremely unfair to those kids. Because those kids, if they hadn't wound up in the top 3, they just would have thought something horrendous had happened to the program, something was wrong with the program. So I had to be the bad guy. I was forced to be the bad guy. Because I had to be a little tougher than I wanted to be. Because things had been so totally thrown out of whack. The pancakes and peas reference, this is what this is about. Okay, and I think it's a good way we do it. Okay, we start out with something positive. There's always something positive to say. Okay, and you say something positive. And you end on a positive note, and that's right too. But part of this is not just a competition, it is a learning experience, and you hope that you can provide something, A, to tell the students that they don't make it to the next level, why they didn't do it, because there's some issue. 2, if it's Saturday, you hope you're going to provide them something constructive that they'll take into account on Sunday. And when I was talking to these kids about looking at things from a different angle and what is your best argument, I just felt that that was the single most useful thing. I hope that I could tell them that they would improve themselves for the next day when I had the second question. Well, maybe we can think about it a little bit differently. And I do think that the feedback is important, and I do try to be honest with something critical. And there's almost always something critical. Even on day 3, there's almost always something critical to be said, but you do end it positive. And why the scores don't always match, in part is because the judges have to be more positive sometimes, even when we score the way the scores are, but we can't always say what we can't always give kids to their face comments consistent with even fives. I mean, sometimes, because it's tough at that age. It is tough at that age. So that's just a certain level of tact and diplomacy, but also we are trying to say things that we hope will improve them the next day, and it may help the teachers the following year.